Hey, so I'm back again with another live stream video. Now, previously, I tried to do a video speaking on my new opinion on R. Kelly, the Surviving R. Kelly documentary, and a lot of interviews and stuff of people sharing their stories about their time being around R. Kelly. But due to me screen sharing a live screen sharing an interview from the Breakfast Club, I guess since I didn't claim that I don't own the copyrights, YouTube took down my video, so now I have to redo it. Hopefully, they won't give me no warnings or try to take the video down this time. Y'all gotta forgive me because I'm eating. The first person I wanted to start off with was Sparkle, because I'm pretty sure a lot of people on YouTube, y'all seen their reactions to the documentary. Everybody got their own opinions and their own stories and stuff like that. So I wanted to take the time to react to certain interviews and give my opinion on what I agree with and what I may not agree with. Y'all gotta forgive me. So first interview was an interview from the Jam TV show YouTube channel.
In January, Kelly has been charged with multiple.
And this is the interview saying Sparkle opens up about R. Kelly and his explosive interview with Gayle King. I do not own the copyrights or the audio to this video.
Multiple counts of aggravated sexual abuse. He also sat down for an explosive interview with Gayle King on CBS this morning. Sparkle, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, guys, thanks for having me.
Yeah, I know you take that deep sigh because I know it's been a tumultuous time. You know, if you look at the timeline, obviously when everything started to come to the forefront, as you were one of the first people to come out about all this, 2001 all the way to 2011, your family and you were split.
Yep.
No communication there, right?
Pretty much no communication, you know, splitting sides, you know, there's some people on this side, some on this side, but most importantly, it was just.
So in previous interviews, probably prior to this one or added to this one, she spoke on her family not speaking for several years up until I guess her mother's death and going to go bury her mother. And then it got to a point where around that same time the trailer to the documentary came out and they found out that she was in it, she was part of it. Say stopped speaking to her all over again.
Basically me and one of my brothers, Benny. And, you know, he stood with me in the truth. And that's what I stand for in this situation. This is the truth, nothing but.
What's the relationship with your family today?
Well, like you stated, 2011, we came back together, 50th anniversary for our parents. We did a big shebang for them. But after the trailer hit, a few days after we had laid to rest our mom, it was just haywire again.
Wow.
So I think what was so important about this docuseries is that we got a chance to see more of what you all are saying with your allegations on a national forefront that we haven't gotten before. And so clearly hindsight 2020, people would possibly not let their children go with R. Kelly now. But what were you seeing? Because you didn't see, hopefully, we can talk about that too. But you didn't see that in the beginning. So can you just tell me what you saw when you first started this friendship and this working relationship with R. Kelly? And then what was the switch where you were like, wait a minute, this isn't okay?
Well, I met Robert way back when in '89. A girlfriend introduced us. She wanted him to hear me sing. Fast forward, I met some of his group members, and they called me down to the studio saying that come down. He wants to hear you sing. So I got a chance to hear him. Got a chance for him to hear me sing in '92. I did all of the Aaliyah backgrounds on her first album, except for AJ Nothing But a Number. That's crazy.
So with that being said, Sparkle, like she said, she been working with, they met, and she been working with R. Kelly, and she said around the time he was with Aaliyah, she was just around. She didn't really see much because she didn't think to pay attention to anything because Aaliyah's family was around and other people were around, and with them being around, when nobody think that something was going on. But she said that her and R. Kelly met each other. Then they started working, and she was working on a lot of Aaliyah. A lot of songs on Aaliyah's first album, AJ Nothing But a Number. But she did not do background vocals on the AJ Nothing But a Number song. Around that, and I'm guessing around that time, around the '90s. I'm guessing she has sung with, background with a lot of artists. And plus, around the time she did her album, like somewhere around that time when her and R. Kelly did her first album, you could tell that they had a close bond because they done pictures together. He's throughout some of her videos. He's in the of course they did Be Careful together. They did the interlude, The Quiet Place, before for the music video It's Time to Move On. They did When the Woman's Fed Up together, because When the Woman's Fed Up is a continuation to the storyline of the music video Be Careful. And then what other video is she in? I believe it was Gotham City, that video she's in. So I'm pretty sure they probably had a little friendly relationship.
And after which, I had a 9 to 5, so I had to go back to work. You know what I mean? So in between working on the Aaliyah project, I was working. And then fast forward, no contact, '96, he called me back down himself and wanted me to do some more background for, I thought, someone else. But found out thereafter I was doing my own backgrounds for my debut album, Sparkle. And that came out in '98. It automatically went platinum, and that's the meeting. And when I was there with the Aaliyah project, I saw nothing. I didn't know
nothing unusual with
nothing
R. Kelly
unusual. I didn't know to even look for anything. Do you know what I mean?
Of course.
Because her parents were there. her uncle Barry Hankerson, which was Robert's manager at
Would
the time,
never let anything like that happen.
I didn't think so. But
course.
just thinking, in studio life, people don't understand how it really works because there are many rooms.
Once again, I just want to say I do not own the copyrights to any of this audio. I'm just using this video and reacting to it, but I do not own the copyrights to any of these videos.
In the studios. So if your parents were to go out for, say, 15 minutes, anything could happen. You know what I'm saying? There's so much going on in the studio. There's, liquor, there's possibly drugs, there's, a bevy of things that could happen. But, if you don't pay attention for, like I stated, 15 minutes, it could be less than that. Something can happen. And unbeknownst to me, I wasn't looking for anything. I didn't know to look for anything.
So what was the thing where you said, okay?
Well, after
something's not
I'd
right?
gone away, after I said, okay, I've done the Aaliyah project, it went from 92 to 96, when I was called back down in 96, and working on my CD, I still saw nothing. He didn't let me see anything. People who really know Robert know that, he keeps his people away from each other. He doesn't allow people to fraternize with each other, if you will. Other artists, we couldn't really talk to each other. So I didn't see anything. He kept me pretty much like sheltered almost. Don't talk to this person, don't talk to that person. So a lot of people weren't,
Sparkle, a lot of people, and this has come up somewhat recently after the docuseries aired, where people said, Sparkle, she had her own career going. She knew this was going on. She turned a blind eye because she wanted her career to continue to soar. How could she not have known this stuff?
That's crazy.
And you've had to defend that.
Yeah,
How would
I
you
have
defend
to
that on
defend it.
camera today for those people who say she knew what was going
the
on?
same way. I didn't know anything. Like, saw nothing. Like, if I had seen something, I would be doing what I did when I did find out something.
Sure.
You know what I mean? And even prior to the tape being surfacing, I called the Department of Children and Family Services with two of my girlfriends. And, because I was getting phone calls. This is after I had left the camp, because I asked for a release and I was granted release in 99, very early in 99, because I was working on the second CD. And I was 3 songs in. We weren't jamming like we should.
Yeah.
And I was just like, this is not a happy place for me anymore. So I asked to be released.
But the thing is, even with that, okay, she claimed that she didn't see nothing. She didn't see nothing when it comes to him sexually assaulting women or any situation between him and Aaliyah, whatever the case may be. And majority of the time, she wasn't around. But one thing like she said, there's a lot of stuff that they didn't put in a documentary. But one thing I want to know is, even though you wasn't around to see if he was attacking any women or whatever the case may be, she claimed that several incidents have happened where he done said some slick stuff or done some slick stuff. And I just want to know why she didn't remove herself from him when these incidents was happening. Because she's going to mention it. She's going to mention the incident. I don't know if it's going to be in this interview, but there's plenty of other interviews. She's going to mention the incident where she said that they was watching a football game at R. Kelly house. And there was knocking on the door or foot tapping, and she heard it, and he was acting like he didn't hear it. And it happened a few times. And she was trying to get his attention till he finally addressed it. And the whole time it was his wife, Andrea Kelly, asking if she could come out the room to get something to eat. And then she says that when he gave her the okay, she went to go get something to eat and went back in the room. And I'm like, damn, that didn't keep you away from him to see something was wrong with him?
Definitely gave me the release. I'm happy for that. And after which, I started getting calls. 2000, I started getting calls. me and my two girlfriends, like I stated, we called DCFS. And
What do you mean calls? What
we made
calls from people?
yeah, in his inner circle still,
Okay.
or in his inner circle.
Okay.
They gave me a call and was like, something doesn't look right, something doesn't feel right, you know.
So a lot of people.
Yeah,
were
and
seeing
she's
that.
down here alone. Where are your sister and your brother-in-law? You know what I mean? So because I had introduced my entire family to him.
Yeah.
You know, I just didn't introduce my niece, as people are saying. I just left her there. No, her parents brought her down. I wouldn't dare leave her in a situation. And when I did see her when I walked in one day in the studio and saw her alone, I was like, who are you here with?
Yeah.
You know, and immediately called my sister. And then maybe 10, 15 minutes later, my brother-in-law walks in smiling. So never.
Said that we were weak long enough, but
They playing her song. I don't own the copyrights to any of the audio, not the song, not the video. I'm just using this to give my opinion and reaction.
time is
So that was a snippet of Sparkle's new single, We Are Ready. So this is a really personal and powerful song to you. Was this a hard one to write?
You know what?
If you've been in a car accident,
Sorry about that.
don't call an attorney. Use this AI app instead.
LaShawn Big Shiz Daniels partnered with us with this song. Like, we had been working on my new EP that's coming out later this summer since late 2018. And when I sat down for 4.5, 5 hours in that hot seat for the Surviving R. Kelly piece, you know, I was like, got to go back in, because this wasn't supposed to be the first single out. And I wanted to speak to this moment and to this time. And this song is just so powerful and heavy, and it speaks to the time and the moment. The lyrics are so befitting, you know what I mean? Just not for the Surviving R. Kelly piece, but just worldwide. Just the crazy things that we're going through right now in this world. It's just, you know, it's a piece for the time.
And I just wanted to clarify your efforts that you said you were getting phone calls about your niece, potentially about your niece, and then you acted on it and ended up calling DCFS.
I did.
How did your efforts continue after that for this to get attention like it needed?
Well, I kept speaking out, whoever would listen to me. You know, I called the authorities right away. You know what I mean? I didn't sit on my hands thinking that, you know, it'll just suddenly disappear or somebody will come to my aid. I kept on with
It
it.
impacted your career.
Yeah, it did. It really did. And, you know, I stopped for a bit because I was just like, industry was just to me at that moment. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Sparkle.
And
When
so-
you
And not having the backing of anybody. You know what I mean?
When you look at the interaction between R. Kelly and Gayle King, which had everybody talking for days that day and days after, what was your impression?
I thought it was a performance. Robert's always on stage. You know, not to say that the tears weren't true for him at that moment, because, yeah, it's heavy now. People are now listening to me or listening to everybody else that's come behind me and giving their truth and giving their stories about what has gone on and transpired for them. You know, and yeah, it's real now.
I wanted to ask you about that too, because you're really the first one to speak out about him many years ago, but so much has happened since then, and especially since the docuseries came out. How does it feel now to have all these accusations being taken more seriously, finally?
I'm finally like, thank you guys. Like, thanks for having my back now, because back then I had nobody. When in the song I say it was me before there was a Me Too. I really feel that way. I'm happy that Me Too time's up and everybody else has got my back now. You know what I mean? Because there was nobody and I was alone in it, you know?
You know,
And it hurt. It hurt.
No
Yes,
doubt.
it did.
I'm going to ask you, and I'd prefer you don't talk to us here at the desk with this
Okay.
next question, but if you could talk to this camera right here. As I watched Joycelyn and Azriel, his two girlfriends, who were girls and have matured to young women,
Yeah.
but still felt like it was two young girls
Yeah.
who were so steadfastly loyal to R. Kelly. And as a father of a young child, I wanted to say, I hope I never lose
Oh
my
God.
child and that stronghold you want to have on them as a parent. It's clearly lost there. And it's all in the hands of R. Kelly. If you could talk to those two girls in that camera, what would you say to Joycelyn and Azriel?
Wow. You know, girls, like I know that your parents, the Clarys and the Savages, I know that they are yearning to have you back in their arms. You know, a phone call, a text, anything, what I'm sure would lighten their heart a little bit, you know, but girls, I would say go back to your mom and your dad, because there's nothing like the love of them. Yeah, you may think Robert loves you and cares for you, but there's nothing like the love of your family and your mom and your dad especially. So I implore you to please just think about it, ladies. I mean, I know he's got their head. Yeah, he's got their head.
Thank you.
Thank you so much,
Thank you
Barbara.
guys for
Thank you
having
for
me.
joining
Really
us.
appreciate you having us.
Well,
And
you
the
can-
strength of this woman here.
Thank
Be the
you.
first to stand
I
up.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
I really do.
1075 WGCI, the Shaw's number
All right, this interview might be a little bit more revealing.
one for hip hop and R&B. We are the morning show with the Destin legend Leon Rogers, the beautiful Kendra G, myself, the shortest damn man in Chicago, Kyle. And we were going to have this conversation last week, but we're going to actually have it right now, Chicago. We want to let you know that in the studio, sitting amongst us right now, we have Sparkle. Good morning,
Yeah.
Sparkle.
Good morning.
How
Good
you
morning. Good
feeling?
morning. Good morning, Chicago.
Yes.
GCI.
Good morning. So I didn't give the people the reason why we had to cancel last week, but you
Yes.
could tell the listeners if you want to.
Yes. I am a diabetic. And with stress and with like any other thing, it just hit me hard that morning. Like I had the first day of school type of deal. I had my clothes all laid out. I slept with my head, off the bed so my hair would be cute. You know what I mean? And it laid me down that morning.
Right.
And I so want to apologize to you guys and to your listening audience, Chicagoland area, my family, everybody out there. It really had me down that day.
So you
So I
say
want to
this,
apologize.
no problem. So you say the stress got to you, and we're assuming from
yeah.
everything that you're dealing with based off the Surviving R. Kelly docuseries
Most
on
definitely.
Lifetime.
Yes.
You said it was stressful. In what ways has it affected you?
Oh, it affected me, of course. Just seeing the piece, because I didn't know the other girls' stories like that. And then hearing things about my family that I didn't know. So it just had me like, ugh, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So yeah, it really locked me down that day. And, just 3 days in a row seeing that, yeah, it had me in a
Mhm.
way.
In the city of Chicago, I feel like this is the city where that docuseries had a lot of people emotionally connected,
course.
like a lot of anxiety, people on both sides,
Mhm.
because, there's a lot of people in Chicago, that docuseries or not, they are riding with R. Kelly.
Oh, cool.
But
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of the
yeah.
things that I heard a lot of is why now?
Mhm.
Like, what's the purpose that you wanted to serve now in 2019? Because a lot of people were saying that we knew these allegations already.
Mhm.
What's the purpose of the docuseries?
I'm not the chick to say why now to,
Okay. Right.
because
She from day one.
2001,
Yeah.
I was on this. When I even before that, people don't really know. But let me just take you back a little bit. I met Robert in '89 when he was working with Billy Ocean in the studio. My girlfriend took me down to the studio and wanted me to sing for him. I didn't sing for him that time, but pushed forward to like '92-ish. I came back around him and was able to sing for him then. And even he wanted me to sing on Aaliyah's first album, Age Ain't Nothing But a Number.
How old were you around that time?
I don't even remember that. I don't remember the age, but I was, still young. I was of age.
Mhm.
But I sang the most of the backgrounds on her debut album, but I didn't sing Age Ain't Nothing But a Number, which is ironically crazy. But I didn't even know about that song when the album came out. So '92, I'm in the studio recording. And I had a job at that time, leaving the job, coming to the studio, leaving the studio, getting sleep, going back to the job. So I had a job there, and then I had a job to do in the studio. And what most people don't understand about studio life is that there are, many rooms in the studio. And then like you guys are in this booth, I'm in the booth, I'm at the mic, I'm singing, most of the time. So I have very little interaction with the things that are going on about me. And, people were stating about the Aaliyah situation, the marriage, and, why did I introduce my niece and my family, after I didn't know anything. I didn't see anything. Barry Hankerson, Aaliyah's blood uncle, was there. Was Robert's manager at the time. Her parents were there. You know what I mean? So nobody is thinking we should be looking for anything. If her parents or guardians are there, what am I looking for?
Right.
And I don't know to be looking for anything because I didn't know anything. So yeah, that happened. I went on after that. I didn't see Robert for many years after that. Fast forward 96, I was asked to come back around and come back down to sing some more background vocals on another project that I thought. 2 songs in, he comes in the booth with me while I'm singing and says, no, this we're gonna be working on your thing now. So I'm like, whoa, that's dope. You know what I mean? I get my own shot at this. So fast forward a year or so, I introduced my family, and I had my my sister and my brother-in-law to bring my niece down because I come from a very musical family, like musicians, singers, the whole gamut. And at the time, Robert had secured a deal with Interscope. He's gonna need bodies. I'm thinking my family's musical. Why not bless
some
them?
slots,
Yeah,
right.
bless them like Robert is about to bless me and make me a star. You know what I'm saying? So my niece was a dope rapper. Like I said on the piece on Surviving R. Kelly, like Lil Bow Wow was when his heyday, she had that thing, like for real. And I introduced, I had my sister and my brother-in-law bring her down. I introduced her right. I wasn't just throwing her to the wolf, like people are saying. And she came down, she rapped a bit for him. And then I brought my other nieces and nephews down because they were in a group and they were doing really big things overseas. You know what I mean? They had a really big name over there. And introduced them. They performed for him as well. Me and my sister sang for him. My brother-in-law, who's a dope guitarist, I begged Robert to check him out, and he is on a few of his albums playing for him. So I brought my entire family. I didn't, just threw my niece in there like people are saying.
Yeah, I was gonna say, because these are some of the things that people are saying. I feel like you answered a couple of things of the I don't want to call it back.
And the crazy thing about it is, a while back, matter of fact, I think I could show it now. Hold on. I'm gonna show y'all. All right. Now watch this.
Have my phone here because I have notes that I want to make sure that I say everything that I want to say today. And forgive the bolting of the jets overhead. We have the air and water show here. I want to put a few things in context. I'm letting those who really know, support, and love me know that this is a family feud. Yesterday was a day I didn't think I'd ever see. Nevertheless, at this point, I'm pretty much prepared for anything. After I learned my niece was cooperating with the investigators, I prayed and I thanked God. Also, I did some thinking, as I often do, throughout this whole process. Asked myself, if I were them, what could be said that legitimately make this make sense and spare them from crazy? My answer is nothing. Knowing that there's no right answer to explain their ongoing actions and years of support for Robert once learning about that tape, the clear plan is to try to take me down because I've been so vocal. I knew that there was some anger and resentment because of my stance, which is why I'm like, okay, they're going to handle it their way, and I'm going to handle it my way. And I was thinking, one day, my niece will be older and will have a real heart-to-heart conversation. And there's no expiration on this concept, but I'm very clear that day ain't close.
I know us speaking privately and candidly, to her, it looks like betrayal of her mother. But now being an adult, I was hoping she was closer to being more independent thinking at this point. Yesterday, my niece absolutely, she absolutely doing the will of her mom. This is another form of the terrible decision making of her mom. And in my opinion, the unfortunate continuing allegiance to Robert. As the youngest of the group, and all I've ever known was family and community. So I operated from that space from the beginning of my career by bringing them in to show them that it was not just about me, but about us getting this record deal that I was about to get. We were a gospel group just years prior, so me thinking about them for them was partly programmed in me, all I knew. Again, because Robert was giving the opportunity to have his own imprint record label, I introduced my sister, my brother-in-law, and my niece to Robert at CRC Studios in '97 in hopes of landing my niece a career as an artist in this industry. Not a concert, as she testified. I didn't stop there. I asked Robert to check out my brother-in-law, who played the guitar, and other family members in hopes he'd assist them with their musical careers as well. I'm saying this again to say not all that you heard yesterday from my niece is true. I don't want to hinder this legal process, I don't, but to testify that I had my niece sit on Robert's lap and rub his head and have her ask him to be her godfather is an absolute fucking lie. You all cannot imagine the hurt that comes from pain caused by the people that you live and are willing to die for. Another lie. Robert and I were never in a romantic relationship. Never. To show you sabotage is a highly priority within them. If Robert and I were in a romantic relationship, you and your mom was cool allowing you to start a relationship with him? Again, no right answers for their actions. This journey of mine, I started with the greatest of intentions, and all I've gotten from it is hell. This is not how we were raised, and it has fucked up family names, relationships, and death, allegedly. Enough is enough. I've endured being not believed before, so my niece's false statements don't bother me as much as her mindset and willingness to tell the lies. I'm certain it's from her mom, certain. But she's now old enough to start bearing some level of responsibility of her actions. I love her more than life itself. So this is all I'm going to say regarding her and her mother, unless I have to. Hey y'all, it's Sparkle. Have
What you wanna do?
Crazy, right? Now back to this.
Clash, but
Mhm.
comments of why'd you bring your niece to
Mhm.
introduce R. Kelly if you knew he married Aaliyah?
Right, right.
You know, why weren't you there when you learned that something inappropriate was happening? But now you're saying her parents were
Her
involved.
parents were there. Her parents were there. Yes, I did the introduction. And you know what? I regret the introduction
Right.
of all of them. I shouldn't have introduced that to any of them. You know what I mean?
So my question for you, because I've been going back and forth with a lot of people on social media about this whole deal that when the narrative gets painted that these young ladies out of 17, which by Illinois state law is age of consent, they're saying, well, these young girls, even these young girls, they knew what they wanted and knew what they were doing. And my narrative to that is, but as a grown man, though, you know what's right or what's wrong and how to protect. So what is your viewpoint at of people that have that narrow-minded frame, a sense of like, because I believe that children and teens are going to do whatever they need to do to try to get whatever they want, just like an adult would. But how do you feel about when people
I'm praying
present that
I'm praying
argument?
for their mindset state because, like, honestly, at 14 years old, which was the age of my niece on that tape. Like, come on, yo, you an adult. Why you, even if she walked past you butt naked, you supposed to be adult enough to be like, yo,
Man, get out of here.
let
Right.
me,
Yeah.
or
That's a fact.
where your mama, and let me call them and tell them, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, y'all. We smarter than that, Chicago.
Yeah.
World, we are smarter than that. Come on.
Since you were addressing some of the things that people were giving you backlash about, I wanted to bring up the fact that one of the other things that people were critical about was the fact that when the docuseries dropped, apparently you put out a song at the same time. So people were saying, "Oh, are you using this docuseries to try to get back on top? You know, how could you manipulate that situation?" You want to address that?
Yeah, let me go back and state this. 2017, I started. Actually, 2012, I put out a record called So Bad. Just, you know, test the waters. It wasn't for sale or anything like that. Because I had lost my oomph for this business.
Right.
Because this business didn't give me anything when I needed them in 2001. Nobody had my back. I was in this thing Lone Ranger by myself. I did everything correct. Everything right. I went to the authorities when I saw the tape. Even before the tape came out, people don't know this. I called DCFS on my sister and them. Wow. Because I had gotten calls from 2 separate people in Roberts Camp stating something ain't right, yo. You something ain't right. You need to look into this. Your niece is down here by herself. What's going on with your sister and your brother-in-law?
Right.
I called DCFS along, me and 2 of my good girlfriends in my crib. We called DCFS. They went out and investigated them. This is prior to the tape. Okay. Anybody knowing about a tape, even me. And I did that with my girlfriends, and they went and investigated. They came to my parents' house and, you know, questioned my sister and my brother-in-law, and they basically told them, DCFS, that no, nothing was wrong. They didn't see anything, and if they had, he would get dealt with. He ain't got dealt with.
Right.
Right.
You know.
So wait, again, I wanted to ask you about the song though, because I started
I'm sorry
about the song.
Yeah, I'm getting all okay. The song, We Are Ready is a song, but 2017 I started recording. And I've recorded a few songs already. But 2018, late February, March, Lifetime came to me. Dream Hampton, by the way. She had gotten my number from one of my previous publicists. And she hit me up and was telling me that she's doing this docuseries and she wanted my involvement in it. And I was like, what does it got to do with? And she's like, I'm gonna be honest, it's about Robert R. Kelly. And I was just like, it's a no for me. You know, I didn't want to have anything to do with the situation. You know, from 2001 to 2008, when the trial happened, I was like, I'm done. You know what I mean? I did what I should have done. I did what I could do, you know, to save my niece and to protect her. The outcome was the outcome. But, you know, I didn't want to do it then. She spoke with my management and they came to an agreement because she said that she wanted to shine the light on me being the first person to ever stand up to him and to step up. And, you know, that's what I did. The song came about because of this time and and even with me prior to just writing the song, just hearing, you know, the Me Too movement, the Time's Up movement, and just everything that we're going through as women. You know what I mean? And I just wanted to speak to it. But and there was no ill intent on my part at all, because percentage of the proceeds is going to different, you know, outlets, organizations, you know, dealing with physical, mental, sexual abuse. So, you know, I wanted to give back, you know, in a way that I knew how, because this is my voice. I'm a singer. And that's how I wanted to get back.
It sounds like you've been recording music. It's just that now that this Lifetime series and such as on another large
it just spoke
platform,
to me. It spoke to me, and I wanted to speak about it. Gotcha. And that's what I do. I like to write and make music that has a message.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Let me ask you this: what is your relationship right now with your niece and your sister? Because now with the docuseries being in the forefront and everyone in the world talking about it, have you guys had a conversation? Are they upset with you? Like,
okay. So, I was estranged from my family for 10 years when I came out in 2001. Okay. So 2011, our parents' 50th anniversary came around and we gave them a big shindig, and to celebrate them. And that's when we came back, into each other's lives. And now, my mom passed away in October. So we
Sorry to hear that.
we buried her. Then the trailer comes out 2 days later after we buried my mom. So we're still grieving and the trailer's out. I hadn't had a chance to tell them because if I had told them while she was sick, we wouldn't have been able to do this for my mom and put her away like we did. They would be pissed off at me or whatever. So right now, I haven't spoken to them. And of course, they're pissed because they think I'm the one that keeps bringing this up. This thing keeps gnawing at me and keep coming at me. I'm not even looking for this. I'm not even chasing after this. You know what I mean? I've moved on. I'm moving on. But this thing keeps coming at me. I don't know if this is my call. This is my charge from God. Like, I don't know what this is, but I got to react because I was the only one, the first one to make it known what it was. And, people saying, why now? And why now? I'm not that chick. I'm not that why now chick. Talk to some of these other ones.
And what you saying that and you, because you were one of the first. I even remember back in the day when everything jumped off. It was like, this chick named Sparkle, like whatever. I'm not having that. Let me ask you a question though, and all due respect to his creative genius. Let's be honest. He's made songs
He's made great songs
that children that got here off of. Yes. He's kind of can be considered the Marvin Gaye of our generation. Do you, with all this that has been going on and what's going on now, do you separate the artist from the person, or to you is it all one thing? How would you ask people to deal with? How could you tell people how you deal with that as far as how some people
I can't tell people how to deal with it because of course they're gonna do what they want to do. But for me, I don't separate Robert from his music at all. I can't. It's a personal thing for me at this point, dealing with my family. And, Robert and I had a great relationship. That was my homeboy. He was like family to me. And for him to do this, it's crazy. You know what I mean? And I don't know how to speak to the people about how they process and how they feel and how they should feel, because I'm trying to put nothing in nobody's head or mouth, or not their head, but out of their mouth. But I just hope that y'all can see what it really is. Like, he's hurt a lot of people. A lot of families are destroyed by this. You know what I mean?
Do your sister and them take any responsibility? Because like you said, you blew the whistle.
Yo, every
and now
adult.
they're mad at you. Do they? And I'm just talking about for your niece specifically.
Whatever. Every adult should take responsibility. If you were in the room and you saw her and you saw something that wasn't right, you should be responsible as well.
Well, do they?
Yeah.
Because everybody seems to be mad at you from what you're telling us. But do they take any responsibility?
I mean, I see some things that are saying, where are the parents? Where are the parents? The parents could be right there. Aaliyah is a prime example, and I hate to keep bringing this up. Her parents were there. Her Uncle Barry Hankerson, who was large in the industry, was there. They didn't see nothing. But it only takes 30 seconds to have a sexual encounter. You know what I'm saying? They could go out and grab something to eat. He could be on her. You know what I mean? So,
but Aaliyah, did they take her away once they learned that they got married?
I know nothing about that because I wasn't around.
Got you.
You know what I mean? I was in there to do a job from 92 to 96. I wasn't really around. I saw Robert here and there or whatever, but I wasn't around then. So, people are thinking something that I was there the whole time. No, I wasn't.
I want you to clear this rumor up because obviously, like I said earlier, this is Chicago. So I feel like this docuseries hit this city, different than any other place.
Yes.
And, like I said, a lot of emotions were riveted in the city on both ends. People that were discussing, people that were like, I don't care what anybody says. I love R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Here's a rumor I heard though. Did you and R. Kelly ever date?
Not at all.
Okay.
Never dated. I dated someone that was around, but I never dated Robert at all.
Thank you for clearing that up. Well, we talked about the backlash, but there's a lot of positive things that have happened from the docuseries. And I felt like you said you've been talking since 2001 and people weren't listening, I feel like, at that time. But now it seems
now
like
they listening.
People are listening.
Y'all.
Yeah.
You have my back. Come on, y'all. You riding with me?
Girl,
I know you riding.
Girl, look,
I've been seeing you out knocking on doors.
I'm gonna need a bodyguard.
Don't be going knocking on no door, girl. You know how things
let me
are.
Explain that though, because I think people understand that. So the reason why I went to the door is because so 3 years ago we had R. Kelly on our show.
Mhm.
Laughed with him, sang with him, took shots with him. I was young when the Aaliyah thing happened.
Mhm.
Never watched the tape, so I had this comfort zone of I don't know what everybody talking about. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But last year, I was invited to that particular studio several different times for listening sessions. So when I was watching the docuseries, you know, I had a lot of emotions, but what I really had is like, this is here. This is 10 minutes from me. Like, this is like, so I got into a reaction mode. But I understand. I know, girl.
Do not
I need a
knock on
bodyguard.
no door.
Right.
Leon, you ain't tell her don't be knocking on no door.
No, you know, listen, at the end of the day, this is what I've
God.
always said, and I'll continue to say, because I have conflicted feelings. I was in several R. Kelly videos. I was in a video with him and Carrie Hilson. I was in a video with him and Mr. Biggs. It's tough for me being in Chicago because, like I said, the man is brilliant.
Yes.
But he also has issues.
Mhm.
And I just feel as African-American males, as Black men, it's your job first to protect.
Yes.
You know, and even as a father, like I do a running joke in my comedy show. I'm part of a daddy's union. I catch your daughter out here crazy. You know, she got 10 seconds to get up out of here.
Thank
or
you.
I'm calling pops.
Good.
And I just feel like I do feel crazy because I'm not gonna sit up here in front. Like I ain't never listened to R. Kelly. I ain't rock with him. But it's just some things you gotta draw the line. And I didn't need the docuseries to show me that. I had kind of been off him a long time ago. But when, you know, I saw how people were trying to drag you through the mud on the thing, I was like, well, how they trying to drag us through the mud for being
blowing the whistle,
responsible
right.
adult?
Wow,
Like
yeah.
I never could get that.
Before we
Right.
go, one thing in docuseries, I want you to clip this up. You talked about the first time you saw her in the studio alone. People are saying, well, why didn't you grab her
Yeah.
then?
Let me tell y'all
because
this.
this is part of the docuseries. If you haven't seen it, where Sparkle says you went to the studio and you saw your niece was at the studio and Rob was there and there was no adult and you were like, what's going on?
Right.
In a way, people are saying, well, that was your moment to grab her.
Look, I'm still recording, right? And I walk in the studio, I see her, and I'm like, well, who you here with? Oh, I got dropped off. Wait, what? Ring my sister. I go in on her and I say, look, what you on? Somebody needs to get down here before I leave. I see her, I'm watching her at all times. My brother-in-law shows up. So I didn't leave her in the studio by herself.
They didn't
at
put that
all.
part in the documentary.
And let me tell one thing more too about the doc that I want to clear up because they didn't show its entirety. Look, I sat for 4.5, 5 hours talking. So this series was 6 hours long. Of course, they can't put all of me in there because it ain't about me. You know what I mean? So they, you know, some things were picked apart and left out or what have you. But the Andrea situation, when the whole knocking thing and I heard the knock and yes, and she.
So people don't know what happens is was it like when you first met R. Kelly?
No.
Okay, well you were at the house one day and then y'all were watching television.
Yeah, we were watching.
And there
the
was
Bulls
someone
playoff.
knocking on the door and he acted like
he didn't hear it.
He didn't hear it.
Yeah.
And then
So let me share that with you.
Okay, give them because they didn't see that part.
Yeah. So I hear a knocking and we're watching the playoffs game and I'm looking around like, okay, you know, nobody ain't looking or saying nothing. Kept knocking. I'm like, yo, Robert. I said, somebody knocking. You don't hear that? So I'm thinking it's the door. And he was like, just kept looking at the TV. I'm like, it kept knocking. I'm just like, look. And you hear somebody knocking. So he goes, yeah. And then she peeps out and says something. He was like, come on.
Can I get something to eat? I think you said. Can I come down or something?
She said
Andrea's asked for permission.
she's asking for permission to come down to eat.
Right.
So she comes down, grabs her food, and goes back up. And I'm staring him like this. And I say, you know what? You a piece of work. How dare you? And he's turned this way. I said, that S ain't funny. I said some other stuff, but I can't say it on here. But yeah, I was like, dude, what you on?
Was that
like,
before or after your
serious?
niece that you introduced him?
This was after my niece.
Okay, after your niece. Okay. So after your niece, you were still, after everything happened, you guys were still
Well,
friends.
I was still recording. No, not the tape.
Oh,
Oh,
not the tape.
no,
Gotcha.
not the tape. I'm thinking you're saying
After
after
she
the
was seeing them
introduction.
being around, the
Yeah,
introduction,
and the family has been introduced to him. Yeah.
Are you and Andrea friends? Have you guys had a conversation?
We're friendly, but we've not had conversations or anything like that. No,
What did you
we're
learn
friendly.
from watching the docuseries? Because I know,
A
like, you
lot.
watched it just like us.
Yes, I learned a lot. I learned the young girls' stories. I don't know any of them. I know my niece and I know one other girl, Javante, who was actually a part of the group Second Chapter. I don't know if you hear in Aaliyah's first album, they speak of this group called Second Chapter. She was a part of that group, and that's how I met her. initially. But yeah, this has been a whirlwind.
Right.
I didn't ask for it.
Yeah.
Didn't want it.
Okay, so a couple things. Of course, the docuseries was powerful, but it was allegations. You know, everything has to be have to make sure that that's clear. These women, what they claim to be factual experiences, but right now they're allegations. And at the last part of the series, there were two parents of Jocelyn Savage and also Azriel Clary who made it known that their children, their daughters are still with R. Kelly. Last week, the police right here in Chicago went to the Trump Towers, spoke with both girls in person, and they both said they're there by choice, that they want to be with him. So that took people saying, see, these girls are grown, they're doing what they want to do. They don't need to be saved. I was trying to save them, but you know, they don't need to be saved. So, you know, people are saying, leave him alone. Like, these women are grown. You have a response to that?
Brainwashed, manipulated. He has their minds. He has their minds. So they're like puppets now. So whatever he has them to say to the police, that's what they're going to say. Period.
Okay.
There's no change in it.
What do you think about people got paid to do the Lifetime docuseries? Everyone got a check, and they're doing this now because people were receiving money from R. Kelly, and then they stopped receiving checks. So that's why now they're trying to bash him because they're not getting money from him anymore.
Are you serious? I mean, I don't know what to say about those women or what checks they've received from Robert, because I don't know that part of them. But I didn't get no check. They offered me upwards of 6 figures to say that Robert and I were, you know, kumbaya and we were cool again or whatever. I didn't take the money. Like I stated on the piece, I can't be bought. No.
Gotcha.
You know.
Let me ask you this: being that you were initially, you know, one of the first whistleblowers in this whole situation and everything that's come out over the years, including the docuseries, what do you think is appropriate for R. Kelly at this point in time? Does he need to go to jail? Should we just stop buying his music? Like, what do you feel like would be appropriate for him to have to deal with at this point in time?
He needs to own all of it. First of all, he needs to apologize to all them girls and their parents, because he, like I stated, he's messed up so many families. And he needs to get help. Then he can go to jail.
Do you think there's any responsibility on any of the women? Because people felt like the women that were older, that were like 33 years old, 35 years old, there wasn't as much sympathy for those women because they felt like, you're a grown woman.
They should know.
You should know better. Like, when you should have saw the signs more. So there was a lot of that conversation too, that the older women didn't get that much sympathy. Do you understand that?
I get that. And you know what? Look, Robert is a master manipulator. So if he's manipulating and puppet stringing even some of those guys that are still hanging around him, and they clearly ain't getting a clue that they are being manipulated, what us women, even grown women. So what do you think about those young girls too? You know what I mean? If those men, if you can be manipulated by a Robert Kelly, so to speak, then them little girls having a chance.
Sparkle, do you think, and it's just me being 100, your career took a hit when you stepped forward? I mean, and was there any way you could corral or reel that in? Was there nobody else in the industry that kind of like sided with you? Because I kind of feel like you was about to take off, you know, to Be Careful song. You had some other songs out there, and then all of a sudden it's like we didn't hear from you anymore. So was that Rob blackballing, or just because he stopped messing with you, did other people stop messing with you? Or did he have that much influence in the industry?
I believe so. And you can even take me out of it, and just some of the guys in the industry, like a Joe, or like a
I saw that interview with Joe. He said Rob tried to stop his career.
Yeah, any male that he feels threatened by, he will try to stifle you. You know what I mean? So I'm a woman. Ain't nobody got my back. So yeah, you know what I mean? It's unfortunate, but like you were asking me, did anybody have my back? You know, there were, of course, some family members, like my middle brother, Benny, who's had my back from day one. He's got me. You know, the other siblings, they may be on the other side, maybe one other one. It's 6 of us, so it's 3 and 3. So you know, one of my other brothers, he don't give a crap, because he like, yo, if they ain't caring, why should you care? But I do care. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I got to see this through. You asked me about it. Did anybody have my back? The Braxtons.
Wow.
You know, the Braxtons. They When I didn't have a sister, they brought me in and gave me that sisterhood,
Mm.
you know, and I love them for it. Tony was like, you know, Spark, come out here and I'll help you eat. Cause you know what I mean? I didn't have it. You know what I'm saying? So I was doing the show with her every night. She gave me some shine on her show. You know what I mean? And you know, I'm grateful for them for that.
What is there anything happening right now as a result of the docuseries that you wish was not happening? Like, I know people have mixed feelings about your participation in the things you've been saying. Like, have you been dealing with some things like, yo, I just need this to stop right now?
Not no, but yeah. I just want people to stop harassing these girls because this is a serious issue in our community. Just not with Robert. You know, it's some uncles, some daddies, some granddaddies who's doing the same thing. Pastors, yes, definitely. But you know, I just wish they would stop harassing, like stop deflecting and put the blame where it lies. It ain't on these girls. Yeah, they are victims. You know, I'm not a victim. You know, I wasn't a part of that whole shenanigans that he was doing with them. But thankfully, you know, my niece was, and I'm speaking for her. And I tell her, even when we came back together as a unit, as a family, I used to tell her, look, whether you want me to or not, I am going to protect you, period.
How does your niece carry on today with all of this attention on her? I'm sure she knows that people have seen the documentary. All of these years the tape has been out. How is she dealing with all of this?
You know, right now, I don't know, but she's beautiful. She's a beautiful girl on the outside. But, you know, like I've been saying, like, I know she is screaming and yelling on the inside, and I don't know that she's gotten the help that I believe that she needs, or any of these girls. I don't know.
And then I want to ask you, I know in the court of law, I think your brother-in-law testified and said it wasn't her on the—
My brother.
Your brother.
My oldest brother, yeah.
So she's your niece by your sister's child or your sister's child? Yep. I guess in a private conversation, did anyone ever talk to you and directly say, like, that was her, we made this decision for whatever reason?
They don't have to tell me that was her.
You
I know 1,000,000%.
So was there ever a private conversation amongst the family about what happened? I know in the court of law, they didn't admit to it, but did y'all ever have a family conversation and them admitting to what happened?
See, that's the thing. No, we never had a conversation. They've not been wanting to have that dialogue
with
me
you, right?
Because
They might have
I'm
had
going
conversations.
to, yeah,
You
I'm gonna go in. So no, we've not had that. And I wish we had but and even with my niece being an adult now, I haven't had that conversation with her because I still handle her with kid gloves because I know this issue is probably gnawing and eating her.
Right.
So
it's like PTSD. It's like PTSD, pretty much.
It never goes away.
It never goes away until you can release or talk about it.
What do you have going on? I know we gotta go, but you can promote. What do you have going on? Do you have anything that—
Girl, I don't want to promote this song.
Right. Okay.
We had that conversation.
We already know.
She was on WGC trying to get that.
Well, let me say this. Let me say this. As a woman, I think you had a lot of courage because what people, I mean, I got a lot last week, so I can only imagine what you got. And I think, you know, whether or not, I know Chicago, that's what I learned. The city of Chicago, R. Kelly is a very tender subject in the city of Chicago. And like Leon said, there's some people, no matter what, ain't trying to let him go. And but there's some people that live here that have been awakened and like, you know, say, wow, I should have known this, you know, whatever. But I do think we've all learned some things. Like you said, it's not just about R. Kelly. You know, it's not cool if grown men are at high schools. I was hearing, oh, they're always at high schools. Like, let's change that. Like, that shouldn't be something we rock with. But from a woman's perspective, I think you had a lot of courage to do what you did.
I appreciate that.
Whatever God has for anything in the situation will happen. And I hope he has nothing but more good things for you.
Me too.
I really do.
That's right. So we appreciate you being here. Thank you for waking up and talking to us in the whole city of Chicago and, you know, being straight up, direct with the answers and kind of clearing up some things from your perspective. We appreciate that. All right.
Yes.
Sparkle hanging out with us, man. It's the WGCI Morning Show. It's 107.5 WGCI.
You know